What is going on, you beautiful souls that are coming to watch this man speak? Who are you? What are you about? What is this channel about? What is going on? I'm excited to bring this news out forward and all these truths and what this channel is about, because if you haven't heard, the world's going crazy. And if you haven't seen, the world's going crazy. So I'm here to help each and every single one of you that come across this video to calm yourself, to befriend your darkness, to empower yourself so that you guys can be the greatest versions of yourself, not just for today, but forever and on more, so that you can become everything that you truly dream of through your darkness, through your powers, through everything that you are. Because here's the truth, they don't teach us this shit in school. They don't want us to know this stuff. And who's they? Those that control the world with fear. Because here's the truth, darkness does exist, but darkness is not our fears. Darkness is our friends if we teach and learn and grow through the lessons that they have to teach us. And so without further ado, motherfuckers, let me introduce myself. I am Andrew Cordero. That's my official name, given by my parents. And I'm 28 years young, here living in the Great White North of Canada. And what am I about? Who am I? Why am I coming out here expressing this channel of, own your darkness, and really learning how to be empowered by your truths, be empowered by your experiences of life. And basically I want to share a little bit of a story, and it goes deep because I haven't really shared the true details of my life with anybody, or just anybody, because I've always had abandonment, trauma issues, or challenges, not issues, challenges. I've always had trust challenges, trauma as well, and I've always had this shocking factor of trauma, of being shocked in life. And this came through my story of going through a lot of mental abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, going through an abusive lifestyle in order to learn what I've learned today. And it wasn't an abuse, the household abuse, I'm not trying to justify it, but I just don't want to paint the negative image without giving context to who these people are today, because a lot of these people were my teachers, through their pains, through the lessons that they were teaching. I learned through a lot of them, and it costed me a lot of my youth. And this is why I'm coming out with all my truth and sharing the message with you guys, because my earliest stages of 2 to 3 years old, I somehow snuck out of my house and was gone for about 2 hours. And that was my first abandonment trauma that occurred, that a little innocent child didn't realize, but the spirit did. And the spirit realized that the child was lost after exploring, but was in safe hands. And when I was a child, I didn't recall this until my most recent ayahuasca trip, and I realized that I was scared because I was leaving my family, my earth family. And so that was the earliest on memory of trauma, of abandonment. And trust trauma came from my father many times, as being the leading masculine role in my life. He taught a lot through physical. He installed fear in us to do right. Don't be afraid to do the right thing, but be afraid to do the wrong thing. Because growing up, my dad was definitely a lot more scarier than police. And my biggest trauma came to me at 9 years old. And I really want to share this with you guys, because trauma happens at many different ages, many different times. It's not just a one-time thing. And this is why I want to empower you guys by knowing your darkness, because my darkness has empowered me to pull me through all of this, to be here recording for you guys as well. And not just for me to be able to look back on this video and be like, wow, I really brought forward a lot of vulnerability, a lot of courage, and a lot of strength to exemplify my stories just for anyone and everyone in the world to see and hear. And it's not just for that reason that I'm doing this. It's to lead by example, to say that it's okay to be imperfectly perfect, and that's what we are. You know, our darks lead us to our lights, and our lights lead us to our darks, and it's an everlasting dance that we're always going to have, and we're always going to experience different parts of this throughout life, different challenges. You know, more money, more problems. When you upgrade yourself, life upgrades just as much as it's going to upgrade with its darkness. And this is why I really want to help and serve people on this planet, and not just I. You know, we as in, I believe in God, and in the sense of God is everything, energy. We're all made up of energy. Everything is made up of energy, negative and positive, neutrons, protons, electrons. We're all made up of the same source, and that's what I believe God is what we can see within each other, within ourselves. And this has been a long journey to discovering this, because the early stages of 9 years old is when I had my first mental psychosis, and it's very early on for a young boy to experience, for any child to experience. But my brother's best friend was very suicidal, and wasn't really grasping the severity of his condition. And he was in grade 8, so I have an older brother, 4 years difference, and shout out to my brother Nelson, love him. And at 14 years old, this good, brilliant, beautiful soul being of a man by the name of Eric Power decided to take his life, and he decided to share his journey and his story with me at a young age. And maybe my whole life I thought I was there to save him, and I think maybe I wasn't there to save him. I was just there to hold him as he knew what he was going to do, because regardless if I told somebody or not, I don't think it would have made a difference, because at 9 years old, when he had told me his story and how he felt, I thought what I had said was enough to have saved him from deciding to do anything opposite. And at 9 years old, when I had found out the news the next morning that, you know, he had hung himself on top of it, I didn't tell, the 9-year-old me didn't tell anybody for 2 weeks. And the only reason I told somebody after 2 weeks is because I got picked on at school for crying, because I just had a memory and a thought of who the man was. And I remember I just got picked on by 2 lovely females now, but that really just didn't understand what was going on, and they just made fun of the situation. And, you know, I reacted because I was angry. And I remember a lovely lady by the name of Miss Dawson had called me over. Andrew, you know, what are you saying? Pulled me into the office, and she has a one-on-one conversation, and then she hears about what I had been storing on my heart for about 2 weeks and on my mind. And I'm sharing this story with you guys because, you know, it was something so innocent that it really took me a long time in my life to really figure it out. And I want to share this because this is part of the truth that's going to empower you guys as well. Because once I finally opened up about my darkness to Miss Dawson, about what I was feeling, she immediately wanted to contact my mom and everything, but everything had to take its time and its place. And shortly after 9 years old, I got the opportunity to go play soccer, and I'll never forget it, because I really wanted to just be involved with other kids. I wanted to be okay. I didn't want to feel like I was this demon of a child. I didn't want to feel like, you know, it's nobody's ever gonna love me because of one thing that I didn't know. And when I got into sports, it really grounded me. But at 9 years old, because of this trauma that I entered, it threw my mindset into a mental psychosis of, am I a good kid or am I not a good kid? And it took me a very long time to work through that. And as I started getting older, I started realizing that a lot of my non-realistic life was my realistic life. And what I mean is, what we see and consider spiritual today is what I see as normal. And I'm very intuitive, I'm psychic, and it comes through the sense of knowing, and it's like a laser pointer. Like, I don't fucking know how to explain it. It's a lie detector, but it's been through my darkness that I've learned that I've had this game of a skill. And as the fucking helicopters want to try to interrupt this, because listen, this is the truth. I'm gonna fucking tell you guys how to tap into your intuitive skills, teach you guys all these truths that I've learned, so that you guys can be empowered by your greatness, so that you guys can never ever be manipulated. And if you are, at least you'll have the opportunity to turn that manipulation into a stimulation for your heart, because you're going to make every powerful darkness event that happens to you to your powerful light that you didn't know that you needed and that you had within your life. Because through all of my darkness, this is something I've learned. Because at 18 years old, because of the sensations of feeling what I felt, of not being a good kid and not sure if I was a good kid, and working really hard towards that. You know, being involved in sports was the biggest thing that grounded me, but my spirit was hiding the factor that I was really in a traumatic subconscious state of being. I always felt like I had to prove something. I always felt like the need to suffice. I felt like I wasn't enough. And so at 18 years old, you know, my parents split, and everything just became a catastrophic event, and it's what propelled me into the dark night of the soul. Because I later tried taking my life at 18 in the forms of taking 36 aspirin pills, a 5-hour energy shot, and smoking a Century Sam cigar. Shout out to Century Sam. Because I wanted to go out with a bang, and my heart was the one thing that was causing the most pain, and I wanted to get rid of. And the aspirin was a blood thinner, so I was thinking. And the silly part was, all I needed to do was one action, and it could have happened, just like this bee on me. And I didn't, and everything just works out the way it's supposed to work out. But I spent 3 days and 2 nights in the ICU, and because of this event. What saved me, my friends and family had came in, not even thinking that my friends and family would come in or needed to come in. The only person that I didn't get to see was my father, and that was just due to the circumstances at the time. But one person that changed my life and that helped me remind myself was the angelic spirit of my sister. And my sister is younger than me by 3 years, and she came in, and I'll never forget it. Her lips started quivering, and I was like, yo, listen, if you're gonna cry, get the fuck out. Because I was at a point where I was like, I don't want to cry. But she told me to shut up, and she was right. And I hugged her, and I remember that, through the divorce and separation that my parents were going through, my sister was in need of just a male figure, because I never had one. And my older brother took the brunt of the force. I got to learn and still take the brunt of the other force, and do my best to be the best big brother to my sister, and not just to her but for myself, because I knew that little AJ, which is my inner child, was in a lot of darkness. And so dark night of my soul started at 18, and 10 years later here I am, just finishing it up and really working through it still as I'm teaching, because I want to show you guys that it's okay to be yourself and still be as brilliantly beautiful as you are, as you're going through your stuff. This is what makes us authentic. This is what makes us real. Is saying that we're not perfect. We don't have all the answers, but we're working all together to unify the dark and the light and make that bridge so that we can live in a world where anyone and everyone can exist, and we don't have to be fear-mongered. We don't have to be lied to because they are fearful of the message or fearful of how humanity will react. Listen, humans are always going to be humans. We're animalistic by nature, but that's because we've always been programmed at a fight or flight freeze mode, and a fight or flight freeze and then action. You know, there's I explain to people there's 4 parts to a soul. You know, to every human out here, to every being that's watching this. You know, if you consider yourself a being or alive, you have a soul, and I truly believe that if you're seeing my face, it's because you're bound to meet me in your life, and because I was bound to meet you in my life, regardless if we officially meet over this video or not. But the truth is, I definitely believe this is godly, divinely timed for people when it's the time. When you're ready to see this, you'll see this, because I'm here to help bridge your darkness with your light so that you can grow and learn at the same time and enjoy it all through cultivating your inner child again, once again, back into your heart. But how do we do this? By embracing our darkness. Because the truth is, if you don't look at the darkness of the world and appreciate what it's given us and the freedom that it's given us, then we can't understand the responsibility and the beauty of the light and the power that the light is going to give us, as it is, as the sun does. And this is why we have longer days than we do nights. And it's not to say that the night is not as powerful, because a lot of powerful things happen in the night. The moon's a very powerful tool. The stars couldn't shine without the darkness in the background, and we got to use these to our advantages. And I'm kind of getting blabbering off all over the place here, because that's just who the fuck I am. You know, I don't let my age fool you. You know, I'm an old soul. I don't need to explain this to anybody, but I'm letting everybody know that, you know, I'm an old soul here, really calling to cultivate a new way of being so that we all can live in peace and in harmony, and with the greatest gift of all is love. And love comes from the dark. Everything started in the dark, guys. And so once we learn to love our darkness and love the darkness, we can learn to love our light and love what the light brings, and then bring it all into one unique soul. Because there's the divine masculine, the dark masculine, divine feminine, and dark feminine. We gotta be the middle piece. This is the 5th component. So if you guys are tuning in, thank you for tuning in. If you guys have been tuning in, thank you for tuning in. And honestly, I gotta say that if you guys haven't hit the subscribe button and commented, say hi, say what's up. I'm inviting all the weirdos out there. I'm inviting everybody to embrace your darkness, as this is my first video for this new channel that I hope to keep growing and keep inspiring each and every single one of you through the lessons that I'm going to be teaching. And again, you know, the message here is just bringing people to unify themselves back to being the greatest versions of themselves. You know, really, really inspiring and reparenting ourselves from our inner child to our adult selves, and bringing that authenticity out in this real world, even with all the scariness. Because I'm going to make the dark not seem so dark, because it has always been our light, and it's always been my light. So without further ado, namaste to you beautiful souls, and namaste my ass over here, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. And again, guys, if you hit that notification, share the message. All I care to do is serve. So if we can take that I to we, that's my life purpose. That's the life purpose of many of us, is to get back to connectivity, to get back to a beautiful world. So, you know, if you guys are vibing with my message and you guys vibe with what energy I'm putting out, let me tell you, stay tuned, because I'll teach you guys how to be unfuckwithable. Means nobody can fuck with you, because that's where our power lies, when you're unfuckwithable. Like, it's such a tongue twister, but nobody's gonna fuck with you, because I'm gonna teach you guys what we weren't taught and what I've learned. So, and hopefully open you guys up to what you guys know as well. Feel free to comment down below what you guys know and share, because this is a everlasting growing journey, and I love to connect. So, love and light, embrace your fucking darkness, and stay tuned and share the message. Love you guys.